I wanted to talk about, let's call it, the puzzle. And the reason I want to talk about it is recently online I had a conversation and a question posed by a very lovely and intelligent person who is searching for answers, trying to find their direction, just like all of us, opening up to all the information, teachings. And so, Amanda, I want to thank you for presenting me with the question. Today, this morning, being in a very quiet place, that thought kind of came back very passively. And so I played with it. Played with it with no intention of trying to find an answer, a definite answer. Meaning, if I found something, great. If I didn't, great. Wherever I found, great. And then let it go. And so that approach works for me, and it definitely helps today. And I was able to go back to that question. The question that Amanda posed, or anything related to the law of attraction. Talk about accessing a place, a vibration, or vortex, or whatever you want to call it, accessing something to attract what you want, and that it's okay to want. And so what she was saying is that seems to contradict what a lot of the Buddhists and other teachings say about not seeking. Not seeking, not wanting, whether it be seeking truth, seeking material things, seeking joy, seeking happiness, whatever. And so it's a good question. And Amanda, I don't have an answer for you. All I can do is just share my feelings. So the way I am looking at this morning, in the way I think where the truths resonate with me the strongest when I take this approach. But I mean, if it doesn't work for you, don't do it. But first getting into a place where you're not so much in the mind. Because the mind, we know the mind thinks it has all the answers. And I think if we all look back on our own lives and mankind's journey, I think we see the mind can get us only so far. If you swim around in the mind and try to figure out the mind, you could be in there a while. That's what I found. And some people, man, they could swim in the mind forever. It's quite the maze. So first and foremost, maybe try, before even trying to figure out that question, maybe really commit towards getting into a quiet, peaceful place, a feeling. And when you have that feeling, then come back to it. So maybe try that. And again, for me, then step 2, maybe approaching it from that place with no agenda, no seeking, no caring of what you find. Seeing it as a puzzle to play with. A puzzle we've been given, an experience we've either been given or chosen in these forms, so that we could play, not just play in the physical world, but by being here in this experience and having the gift, and it feels in some cases the curse, but the double-edged sword of the mind, as a tool for us to play. And so I'm looking at it right now as more of a puzzle. A complex, three-dimensional, multi-dimensional puzzle. And so, Amanda, you posed a good question, and you put a lot of thought into it, and you really looked at that puzzle. I was actually quite impressed. And so basically, to me and those that were online, you were holding up the puzzle and you were turning it and say, well, look at this side and look at that side. Well, what about this? And And so thank you for that. And sorry I wasn't in the right place to give you the attention it deserves. Hopefully I'm giving it to you now. The parts I'm showing you is how to look at the puzzle, or how you may approach it, and see if it works for you. And if it doesn't work for you, then let it go. And so with the question of do they contradict, I've always felt that there's truth in everything. And I know that's kind of a cliche, but there's a reason it's a cliche. But there is, because we're all one. We're all tapping from something. We're all having a similar experience. I mean, we're having different experiences, but the overall experience of existence, we're having the same. And we all really have the same questions, and the same wants, and the same fears. So, and where it counts most, we're the same, and we're one, and we're having the same experience. So I think anyone that adds anything to that experience, whether it be concepts or actions or anything, is a valid, even if we don't like it, is a valid expression. Will they contradict in certain ways? Maybe. Maybe it's just how you look at it. I see more similarities with everything. I really do. More and more I'm starting to see. And if you can look at it that way, and again looking at it from a quiet place, not a seeking I need to know, but let's play. And then we look at it and we play with it, and we accept that there could be truth in just about everything. And I think we all know that. You have the expression closed-minded, right? And we know that when you close your mind to things, there's a lot you don't see. Doesn't mean you have to grab onto it with both hands and never let go, but so with all these teachings, we have a very similar experience, most of us, Amanda. So you should feel good about the fact that you're open to all this stuff. You should feel good that you've really absorbed the information, and not just absorbed it, but you're questioning. And I think that's why part of our experience, we begin here so we could experience and we could question. And you're doing that. So you're doing fantastic. And we all come to that point where we start to wonder, well, is this contradicting? But again, for me, I can only speak for me, but I see more like than unlike. Even like with the concept I find the holographic universe, which is mind-blowing. It doesn't really contradict. In fact, it's kind of, even though I don't go too deep into the holographic universe, I do kind of use it now, the vague concept of it, and what I know of it, what I've read and heard. I kind of use it as a nice platform to play. And the reason I do that is a lot of people that scientists really are starting to embrace holographic universe because it's solving questions, almost every question they have, that other traditional answers in science have never been able to answer, even the greatest minds. There's holes and there's gaps. With the holographic universe, it seems to be answering all the questions. And I find with philosophical and spiritual, it kind of is the same thing. So I'm not saying that's the answer. Because really that's just another concept, another metaphor. But it's so broad, and it's so open to other things. It's a nice plate to play with everything else. Just when I say plate, I mean not to hold on to it as totally true and get too absorbed in it, but just as a concept. Take the concept. And if you try using it as a platform, it doesn't work for you, throw it away. But for me, it kind of sits in the back of my mind, and it allows everything to fall into it. You know, holographic universe ties into the source. It ties into, well, it seems it ties into everything. Even manifesting, law of attraction. I think of it as the law of attraction, I think of it as the holographic library. So when we put intention out, what we're doing is going into the holographic library we all have access to. And boom, we manifest it. If we know how to access it. Again, if you're in the right place. So, but to get back to overall, I don't think they have to contradict. Even if you look into religions, you know, certainly don't follow religions too closely, but there's truth in them. And I would say the strongest truth in religion, meaning any religion, you know, again, people will grab onto some parts of that religion stronger than others. And if you were to look at it as a whole, all the religions, whether it be Christian or Catholic or Buddhism or whatnot, if you look at the parts that resonate the most with people out of those, a lot of them, if not most of them, there's a commonality. So, I probably should wrap this up. I'm kind of getting long-winded here, but so Amanda, I hope that helps. And if it doesn't, toss it. Just toss it. Only you can find the answers. It's an interpersonal thing I think we all have to do. We can share. We can compare. We can play in the mind. But I think ultimately what every belief or concept or idea has in common is that the answers are within. So you're on that journey, so wonderful. So just keep doing what you're doing, and you'll find the answers. So, not a whole lot more I can say about that. It's an incredible experience we're having. I definitely recommend finding your quiet place. It's the best place to then come back. Because once you've quieted the mind, and there's no agenda, there's no seeking, which gets in the way. You should get rid of the urgency for the answer. They need to have the answer. You know, that it can be quite a mind trip. do that, when we do that. So if you get in a quiet place, I think it's a more natural, better place to approach. And it works for me. And I'm starting to get deeper and deeper into that place. And it feels like home. It's a familiar feeling. And how can you go wrong, right? It's a good starting point. Maybe it's the finish point. But it's very accessible. It's very accessible. So, yeah, I recommend accessing that. However it suits you to access it. Whether it's formal meditation, your own kind of meditation, just being, going out in nature, whatever clears your mind, whatever puts you in a relaxed, deep place, where everything else just kind of fades away. And even if that doesn't work for you, it can't hurt to be there. You know what I mean? Take a break. At the very least, if you don't think it'll help you with your questions. You deserve a vacation. You and all of us, we're posing the biggest questions around. So, I again want to thank you for reflecting that question at me. Those of us that read it. I hope I've been of a little more service with this video. And if not, I hope you at least enjoyed the scenery, the sound of the wind blowing through the trees.